Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto Was the Legendary Neglected Uzumaki. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Nature Bloodline over on Anime King 3 and enjoy that guys. And I also posted a brand new episode over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto was put through hell and adopted by the Raikage. So go over there and check out that guys and enjoy. And also, if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click those red subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications to stay posted. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode start? The intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Minato was training Naruto, as the man was fast, incredibly so, as Naruto was supposed to tag him, but no matter what Naruto did, Naruto could not catch him because the man was just too fast for him. As Minato sat down beside Naruto and started to talk to him, as he was glad that Naruto said that he didn't hate him for not letting him become a genin. Well, he did become a genin, but he was not going to take missions outside the village. Minato knew that something like that he wasn't ready for, he was too young. While Fukaku was enjoying the fact that Itachi was finally out of the academy, as he was waiting for this for the longest time. But Naruto ended up falling asleep as Naruto didn't hear what the man said. As Kushina came there, as she saw Naruto asleep, as she came over to her son, as too much has been placed on his shoulders for him to do. When he got older, the more responsibility came, but they couldn't afford to make the same mistake twice, so they had to make sure that everything goes as planned. They had to make sure their son at least live a good life. As time passed, Jiraiya came to find Naruto, as Naruto was surprised to see the man here inside the Uzumaki compound. But Naruto wasn't that ignorant to not know who the man was. As Naruto was working in a seal that Jiraiya was really impressed by, but he showed Naruto a few flaws in his seal. Well, it seemed like they weren't exaggerated when they said that Jiraiya was a sealing master. As Jiraiya tried to speak to the boy, but the boy didn't seem to be interested in speaking to him. Jiraiya told that he would let him sign the Toad Summoning contract, but Naruto told him no right away. And it didn't matter what he asked, he would not sign it, as he had his reasons. As Naruto had made his way, as he saw his mother as he greeted her, before heading towards Uchiha compound. As he arrived there, someone was there, more than one Uchihas, as one of them wanted to test Naruto. So he indeed tested Naruto, as Naruto ended up nearly melting the man in the fireball jutsu because he was too close. But they accepted him into the Uchiha police force rank, as they just wanted to see if Fukaku wasn't over-exaggerating the boy. As time passed, Jiraiya ended up taking Naruto out of the village, after years had already passed, with him a part of the police force. So Naruto has grown as he was now 12 years old, as he met up with Itachi when he came back to the village. As Naruto was quite pissed off over the past month with Jiraiya, he did absolutely nothing. The man just took him around the elemental nation gallivanting. He did absolutely nothing. He did not train. It was a time of rest it seems. And he also met Tsunade Fasani, as Naruto insulted her a lot, as he told Itachi that she was just a old, whiny hag that just want nothing but drinking. After all, with her ability she could save so many lives at the village, but yet she chose to stay out there. So in his eyes, he didn't see that she was any different from Orochimaru. At least Orochimaru was honest about his motives, but she, the granddaughter of the first Hokage, was nothing but a whiny old bitch, he called her. As Itachi knew when Naruto made up his mind about someone, he was not going to change it, as Naruto was also pissed off. People in the academy years couldn't believe it, as some people were also talking that Itachi was out there, risking his life for the village, and here he was, doing absolutely nothing. That was really starting to get to him, as Itachi was trying to quell the rising anger that was rising up in Naruto. So yeah guys, it was basically last where I left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? Let us go to the ramen stand, said Naruto. Your treat, that man, has left me dry. I will have to crawl back home to my mother and ask for money. Fine, said Itachi as he stood up. It's been a long time since we've done this. The two walk was interrupted, as it was violated by fans of the Uchihas and fans of the Uzumaki. To say fans of the Uzumakis, that was a bit misleading. They were just fans of Naruto, as he was being greeted by the people. Most people seem to like you in the streets, Itachi said. Perhaps it was because Naruto stood out amongst the Uchiha police force. It's not as bad as you said it was. As Naruto merely shrugged, he's been on the police force for a couple of years now, and he has done a lot. They like me because I've been keeping the streets clean of crime, giving a helping hand to the old and needy. It is not like me to do so, but that had been in my job description. Your father wanted people to call the police military when something is wrong. So, they made me the poster boy. Itachi got the feeling that Naruto wasn't pleased to be a poster boy. Someone like him that has big dreams as a past, many other dreams, yes. Of course he didn't like it one bit. Itachi didn't say anything about that as he changed the subject to something a bit serious. My father has the Mangita Sharingan, he said, in a whisper. I know, Naruto said. Itachi narrowed his eyes at that. Since when, he asked. Some time ago, said Naruto. Your Sharingan had fully matured as you were gaining more experience and meeting new challenges in your shinobi duty. But your father wanted more for you. He wanted you to have eyes like Shisui because it would awaken more potential for you. Shisui agreed. The power of the Mangetsu. It would make you make change and do something different. That is when he let the cat out of the bag. I do not care for his reasons, cause it's Uchiha business. But I do understand that he kept it a secret from everyone in the clan. The third doesn't know, but I suspect my father does. I see, said Itachi. I thought you'd be a bit furious, said Naruto. I understand the reasons afterwards, Itachi said. He explained it to me, and I understood. I think faced with the same situation, I would have resulted in extreme measures as well. Time skip. Uzumaki compound. Home again. That thought was to bring happy memories. Happy thoughts to someone. It was alright, being in the presence of his family. He did love his family after all. There was nothing in this world that could replace them. Not his training and certainly not his dreams. Yet he felt bored being here, as his parents spoke about this and that. Yes, he felt happy once again, but he still felt bored. Perhaps it was the subject at hand. He was used to hear about the serious things going on in the elemental nation, but now these trivial things seemed to bore him a lot. After all, family was important, and talking to them wasn't something to scoff at. But still, the feeling of boredom was still there. Back then when he was younger, he wouldn't have this feeling. He blamed the damn Uchihas for it. As Minato looked towards Naruto and smiled, the redhead was eating his dinner, and nodding, and responding every time someone asked him something. But Minato could tell that he was deep in his thought. Naruto, said Minato, as Naruto looked up. Can we talk outside after dinner? As Naruto merely nodded, it was a bit strange for his father to request beforehand that he wanted to talk. He usually just speak when it's just two of them. Perhaps the man thought that he was just going to say his goodnight to Karen and retreat from the compound. It seemed like his mother seemed to know what was going on, because she did not look surprised when those words left his father's mouth. A few moments passed and the dinner was over. Aizume and his mother handling the cleaning of the plates. And the both of them stepped outside into the garden. We are going to have a person from Kumo to sign the non-aggression treaty. I was able to convince the 4th Raikage to sign it. Since we met on a few separate occasions in the battlefield in the 3rd Great Shinobi War, I suppose that is a good thing for the village, the redhead said. Minato nodded. We only have to worry about the hidden stone now. I do not know if the terms of treaty will stick, but this will at least calm the waters. I have been speaking with Fukaku, and I know from experience since we trained together. I know that you're ready to leave the village gates with just hidden stone to worry about. I think we can manage. As Naruto smiled, know that is something that may give me a sleepless night. I'm a bit too happy to sleep, he said in an excited tone. Minato smiled though. It won't happen now. I want to look for a team for you. Actually, the reason I am making this decision is because Kumo is hosting their Chunin exam in a month, and they want to invite us. Since we're signing a treaty with them, I thought I can get you in a team to participate in the Chunin exams, and I would try to work with the Raikage to improve the relationship between Kumo and Konoha. As Naruto couldn't help it as a grin was on his face. This is just wonderful, he said. I can be Chunin in no time. Minato, allow Naruto and mentor so to enjoy that. Jiraiya told me that I should give you some space to make you learn how to be your own man. This is what we're gonna do. If you pass your Chunin exams, it will allow you to live on your own in your Chunin years. However, you must be home for dinner once during the week and on Sundays. And living alone means that you will not get financial help from us. And Aizume will be forbidden from cooking you or bringing you food. You will pay for your own food and cook for yourself. This is what it means to be independent. as Naruto lost his smile at that. If you think you're not ready, you can return home at any time, as Naruto turned towards his father, as he just stared at the man. You drive a hard bargain, he said. You know, I can't really take care of myself. I have always been taken care of. And once I become a chunin, I have to depend on their salary. It is not given that I will have missions that will pay me well. As he kept on staring at his father, he smiled in return. Challenge accepted, he said. Good, said Minato, with a smile of his own. Once you're deemed ready to take the clan head responsibility from your mother, you will have to return to the clan. Normally, that happens when you become jonin, hence, this is why I said this will only happen in your chunin years. However, given the situation outside, you may not become clan head even if you become jonin. Understandable, said Naruto. Being clan head mean I will no longer be a full-time shinobi. Well, most clan heads, despite being registered as jonin, did not function as such. Clan heads only fight during emergencies, said Minato. But we cannot have that for you. Even if you're made clan head, your mother might still act in your duties. Because your main focus is being a shinobi of Konoha. And I don't think you want to be stuck doing meetings while Itachi's making a name for himself. Obviously, said Naruto. Thank you, father. This really means a lot to me, he said. Well, I was the one that had you remain in the village, he said, with a nervous laugh. Can you get that jutsu finished soon, he asked. In a month, said Naruto. I will still have to look into a few scrolls though. Good, said Minato. After this Kumo business and Chunin exams, you and I will have to step into a battlefield. It is something I do not wish for you, but for the future of this family and this village. It is something that we must do. As Naruto looked towards his father, who was locked in a smile and also had a sad look on his face. Something's wrong, he asked. Not here. I will tell you after Chunin exams, or before that. After all, I have no doubt that you'll make me proud. And this village proud as well, said Minato, as he gave Naruto a smile. Time skip. 2 nights later, it was an unsaid law that the police force and the envoys would not get into each other's ways, as the military police force dealt with the internal safety of the village, while the envoys dealt with outside. As Naruto was currently looking down towards the streets, he had returned to his duties. He might have been given the pass to become a real shinobi, but he still had to earn his living, and he was used to the patrols at night. During the days, the work that he did was just a chore, and he didn't like it, but he still had to do it. But at night, he could watch the village as the criminals rise up to strike innocent and not so innocent. As he headed towards the compounds where he normally patrolled, dark alleyways usually required the Uchiha to see with their bloody eyes, and he was usually blind there. He had to focus on his senses, but in this location he could see things quite clear, and it was not really that dark. As he settled, he could see the Hyuga and Nora compound. The Uchihas did not bother with the Hyugas. Perhaps it was because of the spats that often occur with the two clans. There was a debate on which dojutsu was the strongest. The Sharingan was obviously superior, but the Hyugas did not agree with that, not one bit. And for the Uchihas, if the Byakugan can see everything, then they should have no problem in protecting themselves. And the Hyugas said of course they could protect themselves. Why would they want the Uchiha clan help? Their eyes can see everything. As Naruto stayed there until it was 12 AM sharp. It was the end of his shift and he could go back home now. He yawned as he flashed on the ground. As he decided to just walk back home, his eyes snapped up when he saw someone hopping from building to building. But the pattern of movement was neither police force or envoy. Enemy, he thought to himself. The person was moving towards the forest of death. It was the only place that was not guarded, and at night, it was off limits. After all, the place was dangerous. As Naruto slipped into the shadows as he disappeared. That was close. The Kumo Jonin thought as he landed in the forest. He could not sense anyone pursuing him. But the damn Hyugas almost caught him. By now, he was sure they were searching all over for him. He was not worried though. Just a bit further, and he would reach the rendezvous location. For now, he just had to keep running under the trees. To be spotted by anyone, the price would be his. He will definitely be rewarded for his mister. The man was snapped from his thoughts when the voice spoke. As he turned around quickly, as he had someone on his back, a little girl. The man focused clearly in front of him. He couldn't see well, but this looked like a little brat, and he could not sense much shocker from him. So the threat level of the brat was reduced by that. What was a brat doing here anyway? The damn forest was restricted. As Naruto scratched the back of his head nervously. I kinda passed out earlier today. When I was playing hide and seek, he said. And I don't know the way back to the village. Could you show me? Naruto asked. As Naruto was playing Little Kid card. Because he could clearly see this man was a Jonin, he could feel it. And also, he had a hostage. He couldn't do anything to endanger the hostage. The man might even use the hostage to escape with his life intact by using the hostage as a shield. And he couldn't afford for that to happen. So he had to play another card here. He couldn't straight up attack the man. No, he could not. The man narrowed his eyes towards Naruto. He was already wasting time talking to his brat. And he was already kidnapping one, so it shouldn't be a problem to kill one. After all, the brat saw his face, and if he were to run into some envoys after he let him go, he would give them his location. The man took a step forward before he vanished. As he appeared in front of Naruto, he saw long red hair, but he did not stop as his foot weaved through the air to slam into Naruto's chest. He would just knock him out and hide him somewhere and make it escape. The kick connected Naruto's chest as it lifted him off the ground. As Naruto brought up his hands and grabbed onto the leg, 2 chains burst on Naruto's body and wrapped around the man tight. The man dropped the person off his back as he gritted his teeth because the chains were holding onto him too tight. He glared at the smiling red head. "You left yourself open so I can attack you," he cursed. As Naruto tilted his head while still smiling, "A smart one." But yes, that is exactly what happened, he said. When you are faced with stronger opponents, you don't try to fight them. You have them lower their guard, and when they're close enough, you catch them. And I know that you wouldn't have stayed still for me to catch you, said Naruto. "You really think you can hold me, brat?" the man asked. "You can't hold me forever," he says. He tried to pry out of the chains, but he could not. "Let me go, and I'll spare your miserable life. If this gets out, it might cause war between Konoha and Kumo, your obvious shinobi. Do you really want that to happen?" the man asked. Naruto's chains held the man up in the air as he bent down and looked at the girl. It was obviously the heir of the Taiga clan. As Naruto looked up at the man, there was no smile in his face. "Kumo again," he said. "You once tried to kidnap my mother, and now, an innocent little girl. She's around my sister's age, even. I should punish you," said Naruto, as a third chain came from Naruto's wrists. "Let us begin your interrogation. I will not have the envoy locate us, but your screams will." The man was confused, and then he felt it heat as the chains got lit up with small, red flames on them. As they burned his clothes and burned, they start to burn into his flesh. The third one started to burn as well, as Naruto brought it right in front of his right eye. "You crazy little shit," the man said. "I wonder, how much pain will you feel if I drive this chain right into your right eye," said Naruto. "I shouldn't be like this," said Naruto. "Why? Are you even here? How did you get in the village? Did you come with the people from Kumo?" "I'm not gonna tell." The free chain ripped through his shoulder, cutting him off as it teared through muscles and bones, tearing through him the flames, burning him from the inside. "I will not repeat any questions, and I will not answer your questions. I will stop giving you pain when you answer truthfully. If your answer is not what I like, well, I won't stop," said Naruto. So, before Naruto could say anything else, he was surrounded by envoys, as a Hyuga clan head appeared as well. "Where's my daughter?" the man said. As Naruto ignored the man and looked towards the envoy. "Uzumaki-san, what are you doing?" the man said. "Conducting interrogation on a suspect I apprehended as a member of the police." "Do you have a problem with that?" said Naruto. Hayashi came over and took his daughter as he checked her. She wasn't hurt in any way. He looked back towards the man and back to Naruto. "He's the one that came with Kumo, to sign the peace treaty. Thank you for saving my daughter, but hand him over to Anvu. They will deal with the issue." As Naruto tilted his head, he looked at Hayashi. "Is that an order, Hayashi-sama?" he said. "If so, I will have to refuse. You have to go through paperwork to confirm transfer of the trash." The man cried because the chain was still burning him. "Oh, forgot about this." As he dispersed the flame on his chains. "We are acting under the Hokage orders, Uzumaki, and we will use force to take the prisoner if necessary." As Naruto stared right at the envoy, like he was peering through the eye hole of the mask. "No need to go that far," he said, as he dropped the man. One of the envoy took the man and disappeared. As another one came over and placed a hand on Naruto. "You will be coming with us as well." As Naruto didn't say anything as the man flashed away with him. Few minutes later, Hokage's office, as they were all looking at him. As Naruto put on one of those fake smiles, his eyes closed. "What happened, Naruto?" Minato asked nicely. "I just completed my shift and I was heading back to my hideout when I saw someone rushing on the rooftops. I knew he was neither a police force or envoy by his movements, so I decided to give chase. While on the way, I spiked up my chakra to give a signal to the envoy. I managed to come across the man and act like a civilian lost in the forest. He couldn't see me clearly, and with my chakra suppressed, he will no doubt attack me. Once he hit me, I grabbed him," said Naruto, as he stopped talking. "And?" said Minato. "Well, he said he was from Kumo, and once I confirmed that he was trying to kidnap Hyuga, I realized it was probably out of power, just like how they tried to kidnap my mother," said Naruto. "I was kind of ticked off, and I decided to interrogate him myself," said Naruto. "I see," said Minato as he looked towards Fukaku. "Do you have any questions for him?" asked Minato. Fukaku shook his head. "I will speak to him tomorrow in the morning. You can release him if you wish. If Anvu want anything, I will give them tomorrow, after I've spoken with him." "You do understand what I'm saying, right?" said Fukaku. As Minato nodded, Naruto fall under the control of Fukaku. He may have graduated from the academy and gotten his head banned, but he had yet to register as a shinobi. It was the only way Minato could think of to keep his son from the outside world. "Go home, Naruto." "Home," said Minato. They are waiting for you. Excuse me, said Naruto as he vanished by his unique body flicker technique. Oh, that must be jutsu that Jerry was talking about, the third said. Seeing the disappearing flames, shook his head. We have a serious matter in our hands here. Minato nodded. We can deal with that first thing tomorrow morning. That man has been locked up in envelope cells and will be guarded until tomorrow morning. We know the motive, so there's no need to interrogate him. For now, I suggest we rest. We can't make this decision now, with emotions high. The third nodded. I have to agree. Let us meet first thing tomorrow. 7 sharp. Time skip. The next morning, Minato hadn't slept all night, as he was thinking of ways to try to solve the matter without war. He had been a bit too happy to think that Kumo would be an ally. Now, he knew that Konoha had 2 enemies. His plan to gain an ally in the Great Village had to be fast-tracked, but he had to calm this matter down. He couldn't allow such thing to destroy the village, or the peace the villagers has been enjoying. The shinobis were the ones fighting the villagers. They were at peace. The third Hokage was the first to appear in the room, as he gave Minato a nod as they were in the war room. As the man sat down, followed shortly was Inoichi, Hayashi, the Anzu commander, and Shikaku. The unexpected happened when Danzo walked in as well, but no one told him to go back in the hole where he came from. I did not see this coming, Shikaku said. We always know that Kumo was power hungry, but this was unexpected. I never thought they would do something so sinister. The treaty that was gonna be signed if a ninja died in any of the respective village, not on their homeland. There was gonna be massive consequences. Konoha didn't want a war at the moment. Konoha was always trying to strive for peace. But now, problem was just occurring after another, as it seemed that they would have to scrap the treaty away because Kumo had no intention of allying with them. If this is their response, it was bound to happen, Danzo said. Konoha has been quiet since the third war ended, and these villages think that we have grown weak. The Kyuubi incident has not done us any favors. If you people listen to me and continue to crush the hidden stone, Kumo wouldn't have done anything. We are not here to play the blame game, Danzo said Sarutobi. Besides, advancing further would have hurt the village. We have already done this, and we will not do it again. The decisions were made back then, and it served us well. This is a complete different matter. Do not be naive, Hiruzen said Danzo, as he raised his voice because he was losing his patience. He caused silence to watch over the place, seeing that the man was known for his greater and normal control. It is stupid to say that these things are not connected. There is a connection. Something has to be done to remind these villages that we have not become weak. Danzo was more than willing to take matters in his own hand. If things continue on like this, his love for Konoha was being wounded by the arrogance of the Raikage and Tsuchikage. What is the plan, Hokage-sama? I cannot forgive that man for trying to take my daughter. We all know the motive was to have the Byakugan and study secrets. That is a crime that Kumo has committed, and it wouldn't be wrong to execute that man on this ground. We will not execute him, said Minato. We will send him back to Kumo. But once he had made it there safely, we will make sure that he is brought here for the crime that he has committed, and Kumo pay for the compensation as well. How can you be so naive? That will not solve anything, Danzo snapped. Minato remained calm. I did not say it will solve anything, but it will gain us allies who will be willing to fight with us and stop a war with Kumo. While I hope we can solve things, this action cannot be forgiven, and the Raikage also have to come here and issue an apology. Those will be our terms, and if they refuse, said Shikaku, I know the Raikage is a proud man. An apology isn't something he can do, Hayashi said, but not killing the man will give him a reason for saying betraying the treaty that we did not sign, that we're trying to start war, and we cannot bow down because he is talking about war, said Hayashi. Danzo smirked at that. He could agree with that. This is the time to show Konoha power, he said. I will have to agree with you on that note, said Fukaku. Yes, he agreed with Danzo. We cannot allow this village to push us and test us like this. The hidden stone has yet to meet our demands. Going gently doesn't seem to be working, and it will only be a matter of time before this village try to fight us. Minato sighed. I fear something like that will happen. It may not be tomorrow, but it will be near future. But we also have to stall as we prepare our forces, said Minato. I will head to Kiri and offer my support to the rebels in their fight against the Fort Mitsukage, while Konoha has refrained from entering in other village political business. This is about what is right and what is wrong, and we also have our own village to defend. What do you hope to achieve by that? Asked Noichi. Isn't it obvious, said Shikaku. The reason why the stone accepted the peace treaty is because of fear of the Harashin. Hokage-sama has been quiet since the war, and some people may start to think there is no one better to take the lead in showcasing Konoha's strength than the Hokage. Once what happened in Kiri becomes known, the fear of the jutsu will be reinforced. Plus, we will gain an ally that will not betray us so easily, said Shikaku. It's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Am I wrong, Hokage-sama? Minato shook his head. Well, he shouldn't be surprised that Nara was able to work things out. That will calm things, and if they get the message, they won't attack now. And this will give Kiri a chance to rebuild, and we will end our turn to make sure it rebuilds quickly. Since you will be rebuilding it, shouldn't it be better if we just colonize the village right now to add it to our own military power? Said Danzo. After all, he saw Konoha as number one, and Konoha should take over all villages. You can dream about that, Danzo, but it will not happen, said Minato. I will not go alone to Kiri when the time comes. I will take my son with me. He has developed a jutsu that can work like mine, but only in short distances. However, it's quite effective in a war zone. Shikaku smiled. Double the fear, he said. Danzo narrowed his eyes. He didn't know of this. What kind of jutsu is this, he asked, as Minato wouldn't give out the jutsu formula to anyone else. He said that it was impossible for them to learn it. Perhaps he could learn this from Naruto, Danzo thought to himself. Not something you should concern yourself with, Danzo, said Fukaku calmly. What about the Chunin exams? Despite the risks, Naruto will still participate. We cannot let this opportunity pass. We must show the villages the power of our young ones. Itachi has already shown it before. Now it is time for Naruto to remind them. Only one team will go, said Minato firmly. He looked at Danzo. Good thing you came. By 9 AM, I want you to prepare your best man to take that man back to Kumo. If he does not get to Kumo alive, you might as well make preparations to escape this village. Minato didn't explain why, but Danzo got the message, of course. As he got up and left the room. Well played, said Hiruzen as he looked towards Minato. If you had sent your own envoys, Danzo would have made sure the man died on the way. This way, to make sure the man does not die, he will also be protecting him, said Hiruzen as he saw what Minato was playing at. That is the best way to manage him, said Minato. It is unfortunate that Naruto had to be the one to catch him though. By the end of the week, they will know about your son, said Fukaku. All the more reasons Naruto has to go to the Kumo exams, said Shikaku. What if Kumo does wage war? Their Jinjurikis are not a problem. The Uzumakis can take care of them. If it's about weapons, we have our own weapons, 3 of them, and I am not including in that equation. If they decide to wage war, we can survive it. But I would rather it not happen, and I will do what I can to avoid war. You will have to request more funds from a daimyo then, said the third. It will be needed to strengthen our village. I have already sent a message requesting a meeting with him, said Minato. Time skip. About an hour later, Uchiha compound. As Naruto already gave his statement, as he was now standing in front of a few senior members of the police force and Fukaku. His father was serious about the old occasion. That meant there was some serious problem that was going to happen. 4. Kumo's backstabbing. Itachi was going to like this. He was not a fan of such things. A few years, I was really skeptical about allowing you into the forces, Inabe said, as he looked towards Naruto. But since you started working, you have been exemplary and work hard in the streets to get us liked once again. Because of your efforts, the police force uniform is to be scorned, but people actually look up to us for your efforts. Another one spoke up after Inabe finished speaking. Not everyone fully accepts us yet, but this is a start. We can also change our attitude. We have been changing, and it is working for us as a clan, and it helps us do our job much easier with the villagers cooperating with us. Naruto tilted his head to the side. They were telling him good things, but he feared there was something gonna come after these words. He felt like he was being divorced or something like that. As Fukaku took over, we will always be grateful for allowing us to use you for the benefit of our clan. As Naruto wasn't surprised, he expected this a long time ago. Your father has told me that you will be doing shinobi duties. We have to release you from our roster. As Naruto wasn't surprised, he expected this. He wouldn't have time for this. He would have to focus on his shinobi duties and clan matters. Now on to serious matters. Kumo will know that it was you that stopped that man from kidnapping Hinata, and they will not like it. To be toppled by a 12-year-old, that should be embarrassing. What concerned me is how Kumo will react. For the way you handled that man, the medics patched him up, but the marks you left in his body from your chains cannot be removed. They're like imprints. Well, it will teach him a good lesson anyway. So I have not done anything wrong, said Naruto. His father said the same thing, and praised him for stopping that man. Fukaku shook his head. Not at all, he said. You acted excellently, and Hayashi will know all his life that his heir is alive. Because of the police military force, Kumo will probably put you in their books. And since you're Minato's son, your ranking may not be high, but the amount on your head will be high. Well, I don't like them anyway, said Naruto. Fukaku shook his head. Your clan maintained a healthy relationship with the Senjus, and relationship was never betrayed by your people. I wish for you and Itachi to remain friends, and once the both of you become clan heads, the Uzumakis and the Uchihas shall have a good relationship, he said, as he pulled out a blue cloth. As Naruto stepped forward and accepted, the dark blue color was not his favorite, but it was more than just a color. It was a t-shirt. The right sleeve had the Uzumaki symbol, and the left was a Uchiha fan. If you approve, both my sons will wear this as a sign of friendship, the man said. Time skip. Raikage office at Kumo. A was frowning when the white masked ninja dropped Makoto inside his office. The worrying thing was they'd done this before the envoys could even react. Or had they even infiltrated his village, carrying the man without the envoys even knowing? It was infuriating, and a clear message from whoever sent the man. It bothered him and he was displeased with this. Had his envoys been sleeping when the damn man appeared in his office? He hadn't sensed them, but that was not his job, it was the envoy's job to react before anything. This was a clear security risk and those men could do this. What else could they do? Who knew if they were coming and going anytime they pleased, while he remained ignorant of it? He would have to make sure that doesn't happen again. Makoto stirred as the man was waking up. This meant that he had failed, yes, and he did not do too well. This was a problem. He made plans to control the fall if he had failed, but he never expected Konoha to reply this boldly. Despite not saying a single word, the man that appeared here, their action said one thing: they can get here at any time. But his people could not freely move without getting caught. This man had been the best man for the job, but yet he get caught. Konoha envoys were trained well, while the village was still the strongest in grade 5. He shouldn't be too surprised. The fact that Konoha did not kill this man complicated things a lot because the treaty had been signed if this man had died on Konoha's soils. But they did not kill him. He hadn't expected things to turn out this way. He was dealing with 2 Hokages after all, the 3rd and the 4th. And yes, they were not stupid. But he could not let things go out of hand. There was no letter that meant that Makoto had everything, as there was chain marks on the man's forehead. Looked like a hot chain had been wrapped around it. That must have been unpleasant. The man was given orders not to return if he had failed. But he didn't have a choice. Konoha brought him here. As A waved his hand as the envoys quickly waked the man up, as Makoto jumped up in pain, as he calmed himself quickly when he realized he was in the Raikage's office. He failed. He failed. You failed, said the Raikage in a stern tone. What happened? Makoto gulped. I managed to get the girl and escape from the Haiga compound. But when I reached the forest to get towards the rendezvous point, this brat wandered out in front of me asking me for directions to get back to the village. I could only sense little shocker from him, so I thought he was an academy student, so I moved to take him out. As the man gulped once again. And what happened, said A. When I attacked, he caught me. He just lowered his guard, and since it was dark I couldn't see clearly. Grabbed by some chakra chains did this to me as the man tore his shirt, showing the marks all over his body. He called it interrogations. The envoy came moments later and called him Uzumaki before they took me away. A was shocked, utterly shocked. You got captured by a brat, the man said in rage. It was unthinkable. How could this man even sit in front of him without asking to be executed? He had been stopped by a mere brat, not the envoy, but a brat. This was an incident that could spell a war with Konoha. A did not fear the war, he could hold Minato down, but the plans of getting the Byakugan was stopped by a mere brat. He was not a brat, Raikage-sama, the man said quickly. He wasn't strong, but he was smart. His tactic proved, and I think anyone would have fallen for it, considering the situation. Are you justifying your failure? The man shook his head. Of course not. My failure is unacceptable. I was not able to see things clearly, but they called him Uzumaki, and he had red hair. I think he was the son of the 4th Hokage. A looked at Makoto before he reached into his drawer and pulled out a picture. Was this him? Yes, this was him. He was wearing the police military uniform of Konoha. I know reports say that he isn't a shinobi, but the fact that he's a part of police military force proves that he's a shinobi, and Konoha is just keeping him hidden. You said he did this to you. Those damn Uzumakis are known for their strong chakra. What more can you tell me? Aside from the look of chakra chains and a high control of fire, he has the look of someone that has killed. I see, said A. What of Konoha demands? They want apology, compensations for the trauma caused to the Hyuga and my head. I am prepared to die, Raikage-sama. I feel miserably, and it is humiliating that I was stopped by a child. Konoha is not getting anything from us. Get out of my sight. I will think of your punishment later on. The man quickly left without saying a word. Watch him, the Raikage said, as his envoys moved off to watch the man. So Minato's son is a shinobi and a fighter, huh? A thought with a smile. He was gonna force him to reveal more of the redhead, and he was gonna test the waters to see what the redhead could do. It would be problematic if the brat can use his father jutsu as well. Konoha accepted his request for student exams, and if they are still gonna come, he would not say no. It was time that Minato's son rise to the occasions. And if he was a problem, he would be eliminated. Everything that was a threat to his village should be eliminated. As he looked back to one of the remaining envoys. Get me Yujito, he said. Time skip. Hokage's office, Konoha. It was in the middle of the day when Minato called Naruto to his office to talk about his team placement. He would obviously be taken to the Chunin exams, so he would need a team. As Naruto entered the office with the book, Minato saw it was a bingo book. He would rather the redhead did not know about that, but there was nothing that he could do about it. Knowing about it would make him be prepared for any situation that come to face him in the future. Even so, he missed the days when Naruto was ignorant about everything. Yes, it was much better to handle things then. You found that, huh? Said Minato. He knew that Kumo would name Naruto in their bingo books. But they went as far as to put a bullseye on his son's head. It was enough that there was a bounty on his head, but for his son as well. He wasn't worried about his safety because shinobis ran when they saw him, but it was different for Naruto. But Naruto could defend himself though. His defensive technique could even fend off a S-rank shinobi. So long as he was able to maintain his jutsu, he could live, even after being attacked by a S-rank jutsu. Not even the Rasengan could break through his defense. Not even Kakashi, Lightning Blade. His defense was just amazing. As long as it was active, his son would see another day no matter what. It was as Naruto called the perfect defensive jutsu. As Naruto nodded at his father's statement, it's easy to get one of them when everyone know your name, said Naruto. As he looked bored, I am rather disappointed that they chose to make me a D-rank shinobi, but put this large sum of money for me to be brought in alive. Only Naruto would be worried about that. It really worried Minato that Naruto wasn't bothered about being in the bingo book. They did put out a D-rank sum should you be turning dead. Minato felt strange just by saying that. Shouldn't you be worried though? You'll have people coming after your life. Well, this is nothing new, said Naruto. There was always gonna be people after my head because of my relationship with you. What they have done is just put a price on it. Minato blinked. Put a price on it, he said. Huh. He managed to chuckle, but there wasn't much humor in his tone. Besides, it makes a lot better because I know this is something happening. Because of my actions. It isn't because I walk in the shadow of my father. It is because I stopped their pursuit for the Byakugan. And you kept the man alive, said Minato with a smile. The treaty was designed in a way if Konoha had killed that man if he had died here upon our grounds. We would have been the one in wrong, and they would have had the chance to make demands. But thanks to me, nothing bad happened. Why did you want to see me, said Naruto. Oh, said Minato. I have found a team for you. Throughout this December, I would like you to grow acquainted with them. Because in January, you'll be heading out in the Chunin exams. Where are they? Said Naruto. You will meet them tomorrow at training ground 8 a.m. Make a good impression, said Minato. Yeah, said Naruto. First impressions last, and some people have high standards of me since they found out I stopped an attack from Kumo, getting the Hyuga ear. Minato's smile was not all bad. Naruto was becoming loved by the villagers once again. Perhaps it was correct to say the old love was returning. He had been patrolling the streets, making a name for himself. And no, he was the one that saved the ear of the Hyuga clan. Good thing you know, said Minato. I will bring my former student around 4 p.m. He'll be there to spar with you. Kinjutsu only. His father, last student was Kakashi. Itachi had spoken about the genius more than once. Since the first team the Uchiha had was with the Sharingan user, they all knew him. He was a non-Uchiha who wielded their famous dojutsu, given it to him by a teammate that died in the Third Great Shinobi War. As Naruto was rather fond of the man, they met up in the past, but the man was a bit gloomy. He guessed since the man returned to real on-full missions, there wasn't much time to spend together. He smiled at his father. He would be more than happy to have a look at his father's student once again. Someone that Itachi only spoke praises of. A few minutes later, at Naruto's apartment, Naruto was welcomed by a sleeping Itachi and his younger brother when he walked into the small sitting room. As Sasuke was sleeping on Itachi's chest, he shook his head. As far as he knew, Itachi was out on a mission. What was he even doing here? And with his brother? Well, the place had become like a secondary home for Itachi, so he shouldn't even ask. As Naruto threw the small bingo book as it landed on the table, as Itachi's eyes snapped open. When did you get back, said Naruto. This morning, said Itachi as he gently got up. So not to wake Sasuke, and you have the energy to be walking around the village with your younger brother. Do you not know the concept of rest, said Naruto. No, that was just being a hypocrite. Naruto pushed himself until he was worn out when he was training. I have another mission tomorrow, it might be a long one. So I'm spending as much time as possible with my younger brother. I will rest in the night. Naruto nodded. When are you going to enter the bingo book, he said. I'm on Vu, said Itachi. Most of my abilities are classified. D rank, huh? Father said that you wouldn't be overly pleased with it. I might have been displeased, said Naruto. This world is rather treacherous and cruel by nature, isn't it? Itachi shook his head. The world is a good place to live in, he said. But the system we have created has corrupted the world. The shinobi system is flawed and it is responsible for the calamity that has fallen upon this world. Actions that breed hatred and, with more time, hatred turn violent. And how can we solve that, said Naruto. As of now, I do not know, said Itachi. What are we supposed to do now, said Naruto. Sasuke started to stir on Itachi's chest. Well, we can take the kids to the park. Why don't you go and pick up your sister? Why not, said Naruto. Time skip. Later. Uzumaki compound. as Naruto was in the middle of training ground, with his notes all around him, as Minato came out, Kakashi beside him as he walked towards Naruto. Naruto looked up towards his father. Was it time already? He didn't finish what he wanted to do, and it was already time. The Fuinjutsu was really difficult. Even all these years, the art was still incredibly hard. There was always something to go over, something that was always misplaced. Something was just... Naruto sighed a bit. What are you working on? Said Kakashi as he came over. As Naruto looked at the Anvu. Are you interested in the Fuinjutsu as well? He asked. Kakashi nodded. Not as much as you do though. I don't add it to my fighting style. There are just some of those convenient seals that every shinobi must know. But I am knowledgeable about the art. Sensei taught me a few things, since I was pretty smart. As Naruto looked up, has your mind dull? He asked. A memory flashed into his mind. Is it because of those books, written by the perverted Sanin? She smiled a bit awkwardly. Not at all. Those books are art. How do you know about those, Naruto? Asked Minato. Have you read them? Do you have one in your possession? Man asked. Naruto shook his head. Jiraiya told me about them on our trip. We did go towards the editor, and he was speaking about another release on a series. Wait, there's another book that's gonna get released? Did you manage to get a copy? Kakashi asked as he was close to Naruto. Kakashi, said Minato. As Kakashi backed down. Naruto, please tell me you have not read those books. I have not read them, said Naruto. He told his father what he wanted to hear. I do, however, have the copy that Jiraiya gave me in my apartment. I haven't read it yet. I'm saving it for when I'm an adult. Right now, I'm just a 12-year-old brat who has just seen too much. Minato smiled, looking relief. I'm glad you think that way, he said. And never, ever mention that book to your mother, okay? His father sounded really serious. As Naruto nodded, he did not wish to see what happened if his mother knew. After all, Jiraiya had begged him not to tell anyone about what happened on the train trip. His mother would probably try to kill Jiraiya. He then returned back to Kakashi's first question, gravity. My field has been created, but the gravity in the field still fight me. I'm looking for something to negate it, said Naruto. Why don't you just create the anti-gravity seal on your body so you can move freely, said Kakashi. Naruto pulled a paper from the side and motioned for Kakashi to come closer. When Kakashi was near enough, Naruto slammed the paper in his face. Kakashi dropped towards the ground. It's not simple as you make it sound, Kakashi, said Naruto. Really, the way you said it, it ticked me off a bit, said Naruto. First, I must study how to create an anti-gravity seal. The seal I created is attracted to chakra, so I must work on a formula to negate the effects. The idea is not to create a seal that works opposite to this. I have to find another, and the big question is, how do I even create such a seal? A little help here, said Kakashi, as the man was still face first in the ground, as Minato turned Kakashi over and drew lines with his chakra on Kakashi's forehead as he removed the seal. What was that? Did seal? Said Kakashi. No, said Minato. This whole training ground is sealed by a special seal, like a magnetic field. It doesn't react to chakra though. There's one rule for this to work. You must have a specific mark for the attractant force to pull you down. It is always active unless you have the seal on you to make it pull you down. And Naruto applied it on your face. That is why only your face was forced down. It isn't absolute though. Physical, stronger shinobi like guy with weights who are used to it can get past it. Do not ask why I don't just use this for my creation, said Naruto, or why I haven't asked my father, said Naruto as he got to his feet. Then, you have been taught Kinjutsu by Shisui, but I have not actually seen you battle. I want to see if there's anything that can be added to your style. Kakashi is a superior opponent, so you will have to give it your all, said Minato. Well, shall we, Kakashi? As Naruto held out his right hand, there was a poof as his custom blade appeared. Kakashi looked at the blade. It was a katana, but not a normal katana. He pulled out his kodiki and took a stance. Before you begin, Kakashi, said Minato, here's what you should know about that sword. The material is chakra conducive, and after a few slashes, your normal sword will shatter. And also channel his chakra through it to reinforce the blade. It's like its chains. It's unbreakable. I advise that you don't let it hit you. That is not fair, said Naruto as he looked towards his father. Not every time will you have the element of surprise in battle, said Minato as he looked towards Naruto. You must know how to fight when the opponent knows your trick. Now, begin. As he jumped away, time skip, training ground 8. The next day, 7 a.m. Kurna was forced out of her meditation when she sensed someone entering the training ground. She was usually alone at this time of the morning, and this wasn't a place that people just wander to. As she saw Naruto, with his hair reaching down to his shoulder, as he was wearing his headband that was tied around his forehead, and a blue clothing with black sandals, she could tell by his face he was going to be a handsome man in a couple of years. Well, he had the 4 Tokage's genes. He walked over to a tree and sat down. It seems like he never sensed her presence. For someone that's a part of the police military force, that was just wrong. She wasn't trying to hide her presence. Wait, perhaps he was just ignoring her. Once, people used to call him an ignorant child. But he just sat down As she walked over, "You should be careful of your surroundings. You can never know what is lurking in the tree," she said, as Naruto looked at her. As her eyes looked quite interesting, she was around Kakashi's age. But he never questioned her eyes. "I don't respond too friendly," he said. She raised an eyebrow, but she didn't ask. "Joining Team 3, she said. Naruto nodded. "You the sensei," he asked quietly. His father hadn't bothered telling him the details about his new team. And again, he wouldn't want to know. After all, he was gonna have to introduce himself to them anyway. Kurenai shook her head. "I'm not yet a Jonin," as Naruto seemed surprised that she wasn't yet a Jonin. "Why?" he said. Kurenai blinked. "Why?" That was a question no one asked. Why was she still a Chunin? Well, it wasn't like one day you just woke up and say you want to be a Jonin, and they register you as one. There had to be terms met. "Why?" She repeated the question. "Why are you not a Jonin?" said Naruto. "You are already grown up." "Just because you're grown, that doesn't mean you can become a Jonin." "I know that," said Naruto. "Years. Need time to improve." Well, I guess Itachi was right. Not everyone can grow in the same way we have. And not everyone has the capability to improve. Everyone is different after all. As he wasn't talking to her, he was basically talking to himself. "What do you do that requires so much focus?" he asked. "You saw me earlier," she said. Naruto nodded. Before he could say anything, a loud voice called out, "Naruto!" As the person was rushing over. As Naruto frowned, he then smiled. It happened so quickly, Kurenai barely noticed it. "So, you're my teammate," said Naruto to the bully in the academy that tried to steal his homework so many times. Who would have thought, the boy said. "You're buying me lunch today, just after we finish things. Just to make up for lost times. Missed your homeworks after you left. Had to find someone else to copy off of," the boy said. "Oh, sorry, Kurenai-sensei. I got a little excited seeing this guy." "You know him?" The boy nodded. "Classmates at the academy. He left us after a year. But we're still Jennings," the boy said that smile. Kurenai looked at him. The redhead was strong. He was said to have been able to rival Itachi. And he was able to leave the academy so early, but yet, he was not able to take Chunin exams at the village. Well, he was busy with the police military force. Nothing further was said as a team leader, and another student came. The man looked at her. "Are you going to be joining us today?" he asked. She shook her head. "I have a mission later on, but I'll stick around to watch." She wanted to see what Naruto was capable of. The man nodded as he looked at his team. "I'm sure you all knew each other because you were all at the academy at one point," he said. "In any case, let's just begin with introductions. I am my hero Tikoi, Jonin sensei of this team." This idiot probably doesn't remember our names. One of Naruto's teammates said. "Tetsumai, remember it well because if you do forget it, I'll remind you with this," he said, holding out his fist. "Natsumira," the other boy said, holding out his hand to Naruto with a small smile. "Uzumaki Naruto," said Naruto as he pulled Natsumira's hand. "Nice to meet you." My hero looked on for a few moments as he shook his head. He really hoped that this wasn't going to be any trouble. Why did the fourth even put the redhead on this team? They were short on a member, but there was nothing special about the team. Naruto will have to carry them in missions. Perhaps that is what the fourth is looking for. If Naruto was forced to carry his teammates, he would have to look and care for them. He would also teach him to lead others and be an example. We don't know your abilities, so we need to learn and recognize each other's weakness and strengths. Natsu, Tetsu, spar with Naruto and see what he's capable of. For someone who has been in military police, that shouldn't be a problem, right? The man asks. 2-on-1 is still unfair, but I guess I have no choice, said Naruto. As he walked forward, his teammates follow him. "I will tell you when to stop. You can start at any time, but nothing lethal. It's just a friendly spar so you can see what Naruto can do, and he can see what you guys can do as well. Prepare yourself, Naruto," Itsu said, as he charged forward. As Naruto watched him, he was slow. Incredibly slow. So it was because he watched his father, who was so fast. As Naruto took off as he jumped over the boy's head and landed behind him, Tetsu turned, but Naruto was looking at him with bored-looking eyes. At Tetsu glare, "Sensei," Natsu said, "I think it is safe to say that Naruto is capable. And doing this won't do any good. Wouldn't it be better if we team up against you? This will help our team work and so that Naruto-san can learn how formations and codes work before we go on a mission." As Naruto raised the eyebrow, but he was not looking at Natsu. "Interesting," he said. My hero seemed to think about it for a few minutes. He nodded. "That seemed to be the best option," he said. "We will take a D rank afterwards just to test things out." But guys, I'm being subs right here. If you want to see next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember to share all of your friends and social media platform, and also go ahead and check out a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Put Through Hell and adopted by the Raikage over an Anime King 2, guys, and enjoy that. And they also post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Nature Bloodline over an Anime King 3. But for now, I'm out for you guys. See you guys soon. Peace.